Have you ever met someone who just seems distant, kind of cold even? Well, today we're going to dive into this really powerful idea from psychology that says the reason for that might be completely different from what you think. Seriously, this is a perspective that could totally change how you see people and maybe, just maybe, how you see yourself.
Okay, let's just start with this one sentence. Some people aren't cold, they're exhausted. Whoa, just let that sink in for a second. It completely flips a common judgment on its head, right? And what's wild is that psychology actually has a really solid explanation for why this is so true for a lot of people.
All right, so let's break this down. We're going to dismantle this whole misconception because what we see as coldness, it's usually not what we think it is at all.
So I want you to really think about this for a second. Be honest. Have you ever met someone who was just quiet, kind of reserved, maybe a little aloof, and your brain just instantly jumped to, oh, they're cold, or they're unfriendly? It's such an easy shortcut to take, right? But what we're about to see is that it almost always misses a much deeper story.
And that deeper story, it doesn't actually start with personality. Nope, it starts with biology. We're talking about the brain and its absolutely incredible ability to adapt. We're going to look at how it builds this really sophisticated protective shield in response to overwhelming stress.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is basically a simple chain reaction. First, a person goes through repeated emotional stress. Then, the brain, being the amazing thing it is, doesn't just sit there and take it. It learns, it adapts, and that adaptation leads to the final step. The entire nervous system shifts into what we call survival mode.
So what exactly is survival mode? Well, think of it as a state of high alert, but also high efficiency. Your nervous system basically recalibrates its priorities. It's like, okay, from now on, what's most important is control, being super aware of other people, sometimes called hypervigilance, and, this is the big one, keeping your own emotions locked down. It's building a fortress, a shield, to protect itself.
So how does this whole survival mode thing actually show up in a person? Well, it builds a very specific set of traits. And this is so important to get. These are not symptoms of being broken. They are highly developed skills. Skills that were literally forged in fire.
And here's what those skills look like in the wild. You get this almost uncanny ability to stay cool as a cucumber when everything around you is falling apart. You develop this knack for reading people and situations in a split second. And you learn, really learn, to rely on yourself above all else. See? These aren't signs of being distant. They're the literal hallmarks of a successful adaptation.
And this right here brings us to the absolute biggest misunderstanding of all. The perception is that these people have just stopped feeling, that they're numb inside. But the reality? That's not it at all. They haven't stopped feeling. They've stopped showing it.
So why? Why would they do that? The reason is incredibly powerful and simple. Because at some point in their past, showing their emotions, being vulnerable, it wasn't safe. It actually cost them something, big time. So the brain learned a crucial lesson. Locking it down equals safety. And you got to understand, this isn't some conscious choice they're making every day. It's a deeply wired protective instinct. It's emotional regulation turned up to the max, because it had to be.
Okay, so once you really understand that, you can completely reframe the entire story. We can stop looking at it as a story about pain and start seeing it for what it is, a new perspective, one that's all about strength and resilience. The old idea is that terrible pain just breaks people. And look, it definitely leaves its mark, no doubt. But there's another way to look at this. The reality is that pain doesn't just break, it also sharpens. It hones your instincts, makes your perception crystal clear, and builds this unique, powerful kind of fortitude.
And that brings us right back around to the main point, the one thing to take away from all of this. That quietness, that self-reliance, that super calm exterior, what we so easily mistake for coldness. It's not. It's actually the quiet signature of experience.
And as we wrap this up, look, if any of this is sounding familiar, if this feels like I'm talking about you, there is something really important I need you to hear. It's this simple. You are not broken. What you're feeling isn't a sign of damage. It's a testament to everything you've survived.
Your mind, your body, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They learned, they adjusted, they did what was necessary to keep you safe. You faced something hard, and you adapted.
And that adaptation, that incredible ability to survive and to keep going,
That, right there, in its purest form, is strength.
Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more educational psychology videos from Psychology of Everyday People.